It is the story is about a community, the Christian community itself, which is one of the smaller communities, just 1.6% of the nation's population. But see the footprint in the armed forces, see its footprint in the development of the country, and the role the Christian community as a whole that has played in education, may it be field of health, and in many other things. And it is particularly important to note Lieutenant General Nadeem Raza, the former chairman, Joint Chief of Staff Committee, in his opening remarks in the book as he documents, he says that when Pakistan was created, and at the time of the creation, many communities decided to leave Pakistan, smaller communities. But the Christian community stayed put, opted for Pakistan, took Pakistan as its homeland, and then continued from the day one to contribute towards defense and development. And defense, of course, these stories are here. We will talk about them in greater detail. But in development, he particularly notes, we are sitting in Karachi, we are enjoying this air conditioner, the lights and everything. This is all energy is coming from Canoop. And Canoop was made possible by Ambassador Sam Brooke, who was the Christian officer, who was the Pakistan's ambassador to Canada at that point in time. And it was his diligence that this agreement of the first plant for Canoop between Pakistan and Canada took place. So development from day one is also been part of the community stories, may it be education and health. But there is a need for another book to document all those stories as well. But let's come to the defense itself. So you'll see in this book that in Pakistan's all Pakistan wars, Christian officers, Christian soldiers have played an equivalent part. They have not stayed behind in any ways. In 1947, when the war for liberation of Gilgit and Baltistan was taking place, which was today part of a large chunk of territory, which is today part of Pakistan, on ground there was a Christian officer leading it, and in air, the Air Force which was supporting the operation, there was a Christian officer part of it. And you can read the story of Flight Lieutenant Jagjeevan, who, during the supply mission, when their aircraft was hit, he was very badly wounded while he was a co-pilot, and he was profusely bleeding when he shouted to Dogar, who later on very safely took the aircraft back to its base, Risalpur, that Dogar, don't give in. We live and die for Pakistan. Keep it up and we'll get back home safely. And that's what happened. Or go to 65 war, you will find that India launched a surprise attack on Pakistan. And while the defense was being readied, it was not ready, it was being ready, the Air Force took to the air and very quickly won air superiority. And when it won the air superiority, it created conditions on the ground that defense could blunt the enemy's offensive, who were very hopeful of capturing Lahore and Sialkot, as the history documents it. And in this air superiority battle, there were a number of Christian officers who were the pilots who led from the front, and Air Force very duly recognized them and awarded 5 Satara Jurats during 65 war, and out of the total equal number of, double the number, 50% went to the Christian officers, such as the contribution that was made. Come to 1971 war, it is young Lieutenant Daniel who is dying on the operation theatre, and the doctor pulls out the bullets from his chest. He tells him that give it to, and the doctor narrates this story, give it to my mother. I had taken this bullet for Pakistan on my chest. So such bravery has gone, stories which have not been told, so there's an effort to bring these stories in front of you. War against terrorism, the ongoing war, NC Asif Adil, when their patrol was ambushed, and he was himself very badly wounded. So while he was being retrieved, he tells his colleagues that forget about me, I will take care, first retrieve Subedar Waris, who is even more badly wounded. So the comradeship, the love that the soldiers have for each other, and the same we find it happening in Major Sarmas Rauf's case, that he in Swat, when he was ambushed, couple of his soldiers, his peers were wounded, and he was trying to retrieve them to safety when he himself was hit by a rocket on his chest and laid down his life. But he managed to retrieve his two soldiers to safety, and they lived on, but he laid down his life. So in Pakistan, all these wars and contributions for defense of the country, Pakistan has up till now awarded 11 Nishan-e-Haidars to its brave soldiers, brave sons of soil, who had laid down their lives, sacrificed their lives, accomplished the missions. And in these 11 Nishan-e-Haidars, there are 4 Nishan-e-Haidars where the Christian soldiers and officers were very much part of the story, were part of the operation, or leading the operation. I can start from here that we are in Karachi, so I take the name of young Flight Lieutenant Rashid Minhas, who was given Nishan-e-Haidar for his bravery and courage, and his commanding officer, the base commander, was Bill Latif, who had imbibed those values in him right from day one that he was able to do that. When you come to 1971, story of Lance Naik Mahfouz Shaheed, during the counter-attack in which he very successfully, with a lot of bravery and courage, continued to persist with the attack, picked up a machine gun from another guy, then continued to launch and proceed forward, ultimately laying down his life. This counter-attack itself was being led by 15 Punjab by Lieutenant Colonel Cyril Lianen, who was a Christian officer. And in his care and charge, one of the soldiers was given Nishan-e-Haidar. We take during 1971 war, if we go to the Battle of Hilli in East Pakistan, where 4FF was attacked from multiple directions. On the first night, it is Major Julian Peter who was attacked. His company was attacked. He defended it successfully, was badly wounded, but continued to command, stayed on the ground. And the next night, we have the attack comes from another direction. Their company was being led by Major Akram Shaheed, who also successfully defended his locality, and then laid down his life, and he was awarded Nishan-e-Haidar. And I have also talked of Captain Colonel Sher Khan and Lance Naik Lalik Jan. In the Kargil operations, they were given Nishan-e-Haidar, and Major Sarmas Rauf was part of the unit, part of the operations. He fought with them, although he came Ghazi, but he later on laid down his life in a separate operation, which I have talked of. So these are all the stories which are here and there, which have been brought together as a bouquet in front of you to read through and to be informed. Yesterday I had noted this. Yesterday Mr. Nasir Nair, during his speech over here in Urdu, he had, it was a beautiful speech, very moving that he gave. But the most important message he said was that in the larger story of Pakistan as it is unfolded during the last 76 years, the larger story has, because of its predominance, has pushed smaller stories of smaller communities and lesser stories onto the periphery or onto or below the larger story, and are not being told with that vibrancy and that love that the stories can bring in front of you. So this is, of course, an effort to inform the larger community about the stories and the contributions, stories of heroism, stories of Christian officers who contributed to the defense of Pakistan, and then they have been able to contribute in different ways for the country's development. So you would see in these different stories that the Christian officers have always, or men, have always been volunteer for defense of Pakistan for day of one. They fought on the front lines voluntarily. They were willing to lay down their lives whenever it came to that. They were noted for their patriotism, for their loyalty, and for their commitment. So the larger message which you asked, which gets out, is that the community from day one is Pakistani. Pakistan is our homeland. We are here to stay. We are here to defend it. We are here to be part of the larger community's to sacrifice, even if lives are concerned, for defense of the country. Thank you.
And he does deserve a round of applause. And what a legacy. Thank you for highlighting the stories of courage, commitment, of service. And you write in your book, it reminds me, this is a very important discourse at this time in our nation's life. You write in your book, and I quote, amongst the minority religious communities representing the white in the flag of Pakistan, the Christian community, comprising a mere 1.6% of the population, continues to punch way above its weight by meaningfully contributing towards defense and development of their homeland. Now let's turn to you, Lieutenant General Javed Zia. What is your experience of the book and the minorities punching way above their weight?
Thank you very much, Neda. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and my very dear colleague, Major General Noel. And of course, my distinguished course-mates who have been very kind to respond to my call at a short notice. Thank you very much. They say that Karachi is the heart of Pakistan. It is a mini Pakistan. It is a vibrant mosaic of the rich, diverse heritage, both or culture and or religion. In this background, it is most befitting today that we have gathered here today under the banner of prestigious KLF, through the very kind courtesy of my very long time friend, Major General Noel, for giving us this opportunity to pay homage to the white of the flag. This book, Voices of Valour, is not only a tribute to the Christian defenders of Pakistan, sir, I call it a sacred homage to the white of the flag. Neda, you asked me, how did I feel? Actually, when I read the book, I felt as if I am holding a magnificent bouquet of flowers in my hand. The flowers that I know previously, many of them, like my unit officers, Arnold Innocent Shams, his two brothers, Godwin, Erwin, the famous family of Brigadier Tressler, Suchit Kumar, and Lalit Kumar Tressler, and many others. Even the general that General Noel has named, Major Moazzam, and also Major General Julian Peter. Not only that I have heard, even my elders have been talking about, but through this book, I felt as they all have been bounded in a magnificent bouquet. I felt hearing certain voices so far which were mere whispers. Today, I thought I am hearing voices loud enough, as you all would once you read this book. This book, Voices of Valour, is a complete resume of contributions of the Christian brothers and sisters. General Noel has given a very comprehensive resume of the book. Still, there are many parts which remain uncovered. Hopefully, Neda, when we progress forward, all those aspects will be covered. But just to give you some of the gist that clicked to me, I thought that while reading the book, the history is unfolding from 1947, traversing through the conventional wars of 1965, 1971, and culminating onto the ongoing war on terror. it still continues. The horrific instance of yesterday is a reminder to that. I put my hands up and I pray for the departed souls, and I pray for the prosperity of Pakistan, for the peace of Pakistan, for which very purpose the white and the green are glued together. The cohesiveness, the integration, the pluralism. Unfortunately, at this point of time, this is widening, although maybe during my talk I may be able to cover. When this white was initiated in the formative years, Pakistan was very strong. In between, like all nations, there comes a shrinking, a lull, a dip, but I'm confident, inshallah, it will rise up. Now, another thing that I had felt was the story of known to unknown. The story of heroes, certain sung and certain unsung. All those stories are there. And it's a complete story, continuous story, which from 47 to this date continues. It is an unbroken chain. In my family, these stories used to be discussed on the dining table. My father who was also himself an army officer, having commissioned in early 50s, being a graduate for Aligarh Muslim University, he was inducted into the Army Education Corps. He used to talk so profoundly about some of the names that impressed him, like Brigadier Engel, like Brigadier Rodham, who had formed the basis of the Pakistan ports. That is why we were doing so well in the formative years of Pakistan. We were winning medals in Asian Games, Commonwealth Games, and all other such games. Unfortunately, we could not maintain that, but that was because of some of the people's contribution. Also, I would hear some of the names General Noel mentioned, and many are still to be discussed. Hopefully, we have time enough to discuss those names. Not only what Noel has written in the book, a comprehensive resume, and by the way, he has carried out a very, very rigorous research. Noel, thank you very much on that account, because I find, and a very concise and clear research, because I find many of the extracts that he has talked about are mere extraction from the citations. That is most creditable. Also, I thought that I am hearing an anthem which so far was largely unsung. It is time for us to record for posterity all the achievements. I don't know in this gathering if other components of our flag, like our Hindu brothers, Parsi brothers, Sikh brothers, some of them are here or not. I understand that it's going live on the YouTube. Hopefully the message will go that you are all part of this white. General Noel has taken a step to compile the history of Christian defenders of Pakistan. He has taken the first step to pay tribute. You all have your stories to tell, which in any case are far too many. Please come forward. Now, talking about my association with General Noel, Neda has been very kind. She flashed a slide. Likewise, I'm sure some of you might have gone through the narratives and the resumes on the Facebook, etc. But that's not enough. And for that matter, it may not be comprehensive enough, or I would say penetrative enough that a military mind would understand. My friends, colleagues from the army are sitting. What many army officers have aspired for, Noel has achieved. That is why I am so proud of my association with General Noel, which now spans for over half a century. He is a distinguished military officer, an academic, and a diplomat. While we may be talking about his academic and the diplomatic skills later, let me highlight his army credentials. Not the longest of list, shortest 2 courses that we have all talked about, the RCDS, Royal College of Defense Studies, and the French War course. He has attended both. Chief of Staff, those who are not aware of this appointment amongst my civilian friends, this is the best of the best appointment that a brigadier can aspire for. He has been the Chief of Staff, not only a Chief of Staff, but of the most prized corps of the Pakistan Army, the legendary 10 Corps. He has been the chief instructor at the National Defense University. Again, a great honor. But the biggest of honor and the most admirable thing, General Noel, was the Golden Command. Just imagine, ladies and gentlemen, and particularly my army friends, commanding a Mujahid battalion, commanding an infantry brigade, commanding a divisional artillery, commanding an infantry division, not only commanding this echelons, but all in the operational areas of Azad Kashmir. This is one thing perhaps few officers among us can claim. Appreciate, Noel, I don't even appreciate, I rather envy that.
Thank you. It was hard when it was happening, but later on you can.
Thank
And,
you. Thank you.
We have
Yeah,
so
continue.
much to talk about. Sorry, Noel, of course, I was just about to conclude that we will talk about many other aspects a little while later.
Yeah, I was just going to say there's lots to unpack in what Lieutenant General Javed Zia has just spoken about. And I want to turn to some of the services of the Christian community, not only in the Army, but the Air Force, the Navy, in education. And finally, the museums of the Army as well, very important to the narrative and the collective social consciousness of the Pakistani people. Would you like to tell us a bit about, but before I come to that question, Noel Khokhar, I would like to talk about the women defenders of Pakistan. Would you like to say a few words about their contribution? You've included 4 of them, Brigadier Helen, Colonel Catherine, Major Saika Sidhu, and Squadron Leader Barbara Gill.
Actually, the names are many, and all the names I have tried to document them who have served in this, the women defenders. But I have highlighted those women defenders who were pioneers in their respective field, like in the early days when the Armed Forces Nursing Corps was not there, it was being formulated. It was, by and large, populated, served by Christian women, and the name, like you have said, the first head of the Armed Forces Nursing Corps was a Christian lady. So these names are stories are symbolic, but they cover and represent the entire women of Christian community who have served in different ways, different times, different ranks in the armed forces. Of course, later on now, it is much more expanded to include women from in roles that are beyond the Armed Forces Nursing Corps, and their active roles, their combat roles, and these are the roles that acknowledge that the women are a very important part of our society. They have to be taken aboard in terms of the contributions when the defense of the country comes into play. So that is this is to encourage the young women to see the legacy and see the roles that are being offered to them, and stand up and take courage and participate in those roles. So that is the symbolic value of it, but it is also a encouragement to the young women today that they can take part and take active part in different roles over there. The museums are in Pakistan, and Pakistan Armed Forces have set up these museums because they are part of our collective history and record. And those things that have happened over a period of time, they are preserved in these museums. So when young boys and girls from schools, they visit these museums, or when the seniors visit them, to get informed, the museums are one very important source of information for the next generation to inform about the legacy. And that is, I thought it is important to include over here how the museums are encapsulating the stories of larger stories of heroism in Pakistan, but also the Christian community, and they have been all acknowledged in all the museums in Pakistan. And in fact, there are in Pakistan Armed Forces Museum in Pindi, it includes a full wall of the contributions that have been rendered by the Christian community itself. So this is just to give it a 360-degree view to you about the wholesome role which is being acknowledged, has been acknowledged, and continues to be acknowledged in future.
Thank you.
And may I add, Neda,
Sure.
there are certain things that struck me. Of course, all these things come very naturally to General Noel because he is the author of the book. I am the reader of the book. There were names like Colonel C.P. Maudsley, who was the pioneer in the nursing services, who helped establish the foundations of the military nursing services. This is the news for me, and the process continued. Then the first female induction into the Pakistan Army was a Christian lady. Also, not only that, he has covered the entire spectrum, which continues to this day. I have read a name, Major Saika, who I am told that is the modern symbol of excellence, a gold medalist from USA, where 52 soldiers were participating, and she represents the rising role of women in the medical and professional branches. Additional to that, I have read, I do not remember verbatim, but the contributions of many educationist ladies. Thank you.
Thank you. And the role is all encompassing. It's a broader spectrum, isn't it, when we include the Christian trailblazers' contribution to education in Pakistan. And you've contributed a lot through your Fazal Foundation. Your children have written in the book, throughout our lives, we have seen our father devote himself wholeheartedly to serving Pakistan, Pakistan Army, Pakistani Christian community in meaningful ways. In 2016, he founded Fazal Foundation, named in the honor of our great-grandfather. And that initiative, I believe, was meant to support low-income families in the Christian community to get a quality education, furthering the work of the missionary schools that we have seen in Pakistan for the last century. Would you like to talk about the Fazal Foundation and its work?
I'll really be brief about it because I'd like to focus more on the other stories in the book. This is named after my grandfather, who was an educationist. So this offers need-based scholarship to young students whose parents cannot afford education, or they are falling short in terms of resources. So it is not taking them to a particular school, but whosoever applies over there, their parents are told to contribute whatever they can. The remaining burden is taken up by the foundation. The fees and other resources are paid directly to the school. So it is a need-based scholarship to enable students from the minority community to be able to complete their education and excel in life, because that is the way forward that is there. The education and excellence they can achieve from there. And the scholarship is retained by merit only. And if the merit is there, the student continues to work, shows merit, it goes to. And as you said, 2016, we picked up one young girl whom we supported, was very brilliant, was out of school, brought back to the school, and then She excelled in her metric exam, 900 plus marks. Then we supported her to the college system also, and it was a great sense of accomplishment when she landed a scholarship in Hungary, having completed her education from the college. So that is the contribution.
Let's talk a little bit about how your work, and Javed Zia, your work, contributes to inspiring the youth in the Christian community and the minorities at large. So you're heading the Center for Public Policy and Governance at Foreman Christian College. How do you use these historical narratives and your legacy in the Christian community to inspire the youth?
So it's all these endeavors are there to take young students, young children into the education system, give them hope, give them leadership, provide them resources so they can excel. At the Center for Public Policy, for instance, I can just give you one example that where the admission to these systems, like when they to colleges and schools, it is all now merit-based. So students have to compete in the exam to get an admission to a leading university or a school. But all students do not come from urban areas or better schools in urban areas. They come from peri-urban areas, they come from rural areas, and within them there is a distinct stream of students who have done their matriculation or the students who have done their A-levels. And the difference between, there is a distinct daylight in terms of capabilities that is visible over there.
Okay.
So it is now in order to provide an equal playing ground and a level field. So what we have tried to do over there is to enable young students, when they get out from the matriculation exam, to give them concentrated 5 weeks course to build up their capacities so that they can compete with other students and compete on their merit to get into the admission system rather than lowering the merit or accepting references to enable the students to get in. So that has been the approach to it, to continue to emphasize that the students have to work hard, they have to excel, they can do that if they provided the guidance, and they do it. And since the time this initiative was started, I think more than 1,200 students have made to the FC College alone and Connect College alone in Lahore on their own merit. I think that is a great achievement and to the program that we started there, and it continues to today.
Let's talk a little bit more about merit and competition and excellence, and I'm sure many of you would have this question in your mind as I do. Many Christian trailblazers have said, and Javed Zia Saab, this question is for you. Many Christian trailblazers have said that despite the commitment, despite the sacrifice, they can't always make it to the highest ranks. Would you like to highlight the reasons for that?
I would certainly, Neda. This is a question which is not only agitating your mind and the one who has talked to you. I am sure this is a question which is agitating many of the minds. Thank you for that. To begin with, let me tell my own story. I came from not a very high background. My father was an immigrant from India. He migrated to Pakistan, being a graduate from Aligarh Muslim University, inducted into the education corps, and thereafter somehow I came to the army. During the army service, 40 years, I did not see anything but the merit. And merit, as we say, many people say that it is the armed forces of Pakistan is the laboratory in which nothing but the merit prevails. And as far as people's not rising up is concerned, I would say that in the first very instance, there are a lot of people who have risen. Also in the book, General Noel has mentioned about the 2 stars like Julian Peter, Major General Noel himself, General Muazzam. Also, I have a list of Parsi officers. Unfortunately, they are not here, although there is a Major General Agha, Major General Kezad. So all have made it on the basis of their merit. Of course, the system helped them because it pulled them. There was never a pull or a retardation on the merit. Merit is one thing which ensures excellence in the battlefield, because we all understand that the bullet, the shell, the torpedo does not differentiate and does not distinguish amongst the faith. It is merit and merit alone of professionalism that will save you. And about not rising above a certain level, I would, of course, I buy the point, and I would rather put it as a thought for pondering. So has the book even in the afterwards. The book also mentions about this aspect. I would also put across this thing. But to tell you very frankly, if somebody talks about the 3-star rank, as for the 2 stars I have mentioned, which is a very high rank in the armed forces, it is a pyramid. The broader the base, few would rise up. We have a system which is, which clears certain courses. If a course was cleared for consideration, there were 7 officers, and the vacancies were only 2. There is a board at various levels, culminating into a final board at the GHQ. Out of the 7 officers, each one is discussed threadbare. If the vacancies were 2, unfortunately, only 2 would make it. 5 other equally brilliant, almost, officers will not make it. So, I have not the slightest of doubt that Army ever compromises on merit. At least I can vouch that in my 40 years of military service, I have never seen, felt any sort of bias. Neither I have heard of or read of any policy which places a ban on the higher rising. Nonetheless, as you have said, I will go along with the recommendation that this is a point to ponder, not on the basis of the quota, but on the basis of pure merit. This should also be done, if not done so far, to dispel the perception, although I have justified and clarified, it is not happening, but still, if there is any perception like that, it needs to be reconsidered.
What can we do to inspire the youth to take advantage of this merit-based system? Would you like to elaborate on what your vision for the Christian community, especially the young people, is? And Javed Zia Saab, if you could address that question, and then if I could ask Noel, if I could ask you to address the same question.
I think the point on merit has been very amply explained, but all systems always periodically need review, and Army system also gets reviewed very frequently to ensure that merit is followed in every sense of the word. And also, as it says, as the saying goes, that justice is best when the justice is seen that it is being done. So the perception can only be countered once it's seen by the people that this is this particular point which has been raised has been addressed to. But for the youth itself, I think in the armed forces, you can aspire to the highest rank, that is to become a general officer. You can become a rear admiral. You can become a vice air marshal. So these are the highest ranks which you can aspire for. And for these ranks, if the young generation, all these stories which are there where people have risen to those ranks, they have the message they convey very clearly is First of all, you have to have competence in yourself, and that's what I have always been talking about, that if you develop that competence to deliver on ground, it is not just the competence itself, but competence to deliver results. So if you have that, you will get acknowledged. If you have the character, most importantly, to uphold yourself, uphold your country, uphold the profession that you are in, the service you are in, then you will of course get acknowledged for your character. Then when it comes to the performance of the armed forces, it is out in the field, it is out in the war, it is in the battle. And that is where the courage comes into play. And if you have that, and you can demonstrate that you have that courage, and as these stories, all these stories are there, which the officers demonstrated, that they are courageous enough to even lay down their lives. I think this is where the message that goes out to the youth. So it is these 3 C's that I talked of in the book also: character, courage and competence, that sees that you compete with others. Even if the pyramid is very narrow at the top, still you can aspire to make over there. Rest, other than that, there are sometimes circumstances that surround certain decisions. That circumstances, of course, people all know that, and that has to be reviewed. And that is where the stories for the young, aspiration for the young Christians and for anyone, is that to follow this and follow their vision, follow their aspiration, demonstrate your courage, demonstrate your competence, and demonstrate your character, and you will be acknowledged.
Thank you. Courage, character and competence. That's an excellent reminder. Thank you for that. Would you like to add something, Javed, Zia Saab? We have just about 3 minutes, and then I'd like to open Q&A.
The final word?
Ji.
Yes, the final word is that, of course, I would like to thank the Christian community. You have been the greatest, strongest pillar of white, the white which holds the green, on which the green so proudly flutters. Thank you very much for your contribution. Thank you very much, General Noel, for working upon this monumental book. I call it a labor of love, professionalism, and patriotism. I'm sure your work will go a long way. You have set a precedence. I'm sure others will take a note from you from that. And inshallah, in the days to come, Pakistan will rise to the level which it truly deserves. May Allah bless Pakistan. May Allah bless you. No.
Any final thoughts, Major General Noel Khokhar?
I think you can open up for the floor, and then we
Let's
can
start
conclude.
Q&A. Any questions from the audience? Could we see a show of hands, please? Yes, go ahead. Bisba, could he have a mic? Sorry, we'll get the mic to you in a minute.
You should buy the book. Then you'll see it for yourself. So what is... no, what I've said. So the way the book is organized, first of all, it is the main stories are about the 4 wars that we have fought, starting from 47 to war against terror. And within the wars, every service has been included according to the role that has been played. So it is categorized like in 65 war, the predominant role initially was the Air Force. So the Air Force gets a complete section over there. And then the Navy and then the ground forces and the Navy. So all these services have been given their, included and given their share. I have even retained the colors of the respective services so that it can be easily picked up and identified that this is stories from the Air Force, this is a story from the Navy, this is a story from the Army. So that is all. It goes around.
I just want to say that we have the books on display in this room, so please feel free to ask a member of our team right after the session. Any other question? Ji, go ahead.
So So, Mr. Zia, when you were talking about the meritocracy, do you think, can you hear me okay now? Okay.
Sir, I can't hear you very clearly. I don't know if...
Yeah.
Okay. Sir, can you please come a little forward?
The echo is probably larger, so if you can ask, we can repeat it also.
The meritocracy that you were talking about and you have personally observed, do you think that it is still holding or there is a change in that temporarily as the time is going by? And second part, do you think, there are personal biases, which is a human nature, and we can see that everywhere. So minorities face that everywhere, including here. But you think that the structure of armed forces, the hierarchy, the discipline, etc., is able to supersede those personal biases which could be there in humans?
Yes, sir, I totally feel that there is no personal bias. They're never in my unit. I am from infantry. Infantry is, in any case, a very well-knit organization, imbued with spirit de corps. That is the hallmark. I mean, Shams commanded the unit. He was the commanding officer. What else can an officer aspire for? He has to lead the people. People have to follow him. They follow him not on the basis of the faith of the officer who is leading them or their own faith. While the faith of the officer leading guides him, motivates him, gives him courage, the faith, religious faith of the men and officers give him courage. Something in common is the faith in Pakistan, the faith in cause. So that is what makes them, and as I said, since armed forces rather, are the national laboratory where merit and merit alone prevails. While I may personally think, and I would confess that the way army treats the white of the flag, in conformity with the thoughts of the forefathers, no other institution, probably, maybe judiciary comes a little closer, Cornelius, Bhagwan Das, etc., were raised to that level. Others do not. What Noel has tried to impress upon everyone through his wonderful book, that this is how the society should be. I mean, nowhere it claims that we are perfect, but this is how it should be. Thank you.
Thank you both, and thank you once again for being here, Javed, Zia Saab, and Noel Khokhar Saab. Thank you, everyone. Time is up now, so we'll have to give the stage for the next session. Thank you for attending. If you'd like to say a few words before we end.
Yeah. My few words in the end is again like the first what I said. I like to thank each one of you for being present today over here. It is your presence marks, and I am trying to pay a tribute to the Christian Defender. You are equally by your presence paying that tribute to the Christian Defenders, and I am grateful to you, thankful to you. That's what the book is all about, to pay a tribute and build a legacy which the youth of today can follow, and they can emulate their heroes of the past. This book, if imagine this, when this book was not there, you would have not known all these stories. Our youth would have not known all these stories in this coherent and a constructive and a comprehensive manner. But this compilation itself provides a guide, a pathway, and a pathway lit to for the youth to follow and realize their dreams. And Pakistan Army itself, you see, it is fighting a war on terrorism. Every day there are casualties, but pause for a moment and ask that what makes our soldiers, what makes our men, what makes our officers fight in the field, irrespective of the hazards there are. Every day there are shahadats. The young soldiers follow their officers. What makes all this happen? What's the framework, what's the machinery that is so resilient that 4 wars, and the longest war is the last war that is still continues since starting in 2008 and still continuing, and yet the nation and the armed forces continue to be resilient to fight this war, lay down their lives and hold the country, defend the country solidly. So there is some merit in it. There is a system, there is a system which is well oiled, well worked out, and it takes care of all those aspects, the questions that came in, and that is why the armed forces deliver whenever they are asked to come to the fore and deliver. I again thank you very much.
Thank you.